How's it going, everybody? RazingHel here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Bannerman. It's sort of an action, side-scrolling kind of game, but it's pixel art based, and it's actually a little bit difficult. So this is a game that I've been playing it now for about 3 hours, and I think I'm ready to give you a brief overview of how it works. So to get started with, we want to use a game controller. I'm using an Xbox One controller, obviously, because this is a sort of action game where using a keyboard just doesn't work when you're trying to counter attack combos, right? In terms of the options that the game has here, if you insist on using a keyboard, you most certainly can rebind it. So minus these rather protracted transition screens here between the menu options. Right here you can see you can change all of the various key mappings for the keyboard. You can't do that with the gamepad. The gamepad will just show you what's available, but apparently you can't remap anything on it. But yeah, the transitions here between menu items are a little bit, like I said, a little bit protracted, I think. So if you're in a hurry, this can aggravate you. Another interesting thing I found out about it is that there aren't actually any credits for the game. There's no menu option here that allows you to view the credits. Now I have my own game started, so I'm going to be just continuing that game because I think it's at a place currently, the Basilica of Saint Royce. It's at a place where I'm familiar with the scenery, and I think I'll be able to do a better job of guiding you around the game. So here's my character. He's on the screen. He is a former Bannerman, I believe. He lost, the beginning of the story sort of explains he lost his lord's banner, and he's trying to make it up to the lord, basically, because he kind of failed him. His lord's enemy has the banner now. So we can walk around like this. You'll notice that moving from changing directions actually takes more time than in most sort of side-scrolling games. But we have our sword. We won't be able to use it until we actually get into combat. But in this situation, when we're just walking around, we can interact with the environment. So pressing A in this case and open up this portcullis or whatever. It's like a gate there. And this will allow us to walk through here. This is actually a shortcut because I've played this before, and therefore it might be unlocked, it might not be. We'll see here. No, it's still locked. So because I started the game again new, I guess I didn't get to unlock that. But here we have some armor. Let's get some armor on. You'll notice in the lower left-hand corner, along with our stats, we added one blue box to it. So the red boxes are like standard health. The blue boxes we can increase by picking up armor, and that really does protect us significantly. So here you'll notice some of the rotoscoping effects for these characters, these archers here in the background. They're firing off into the distance. Pretty nice, pretty atmospheric. We have some, what is that, parallax going on in the background there, where basically you have the landscape moving against another landscape in the background. Here is my lord. I forget what its name is. It begins with a C, I think. Connor, something like that. I remember the enemy lord that this guy is fighting against. His name is Randall. But this is the guy that I'm supposed to sort of make up to for losing his flag. So that's basically all we have to do. We're leading the charge. Don't have a flag in my case. We can run by pressing the B button once, but you'll notice the character doesn't move that much faster. Oh, here we have another building. Let's go ahead and check this out. To enter buildings, you simply press up on the directional pad or on your joystick. So here we are inside this house, and we've got some more armor. So press A to pick that up, put that on. Now you'll notice we have 2 blue squares in the lower left-hand corner. So that's for our armor. And here we have even more armor. So let's go ahead and pick this armor up as well. And now we're up to 4 blue squares. And this will come in useful later because armor is much more defensive than your simple life. So in other words, 4 of those blue boxes in the lower left-hand corner is worth more than 5 of the red ones. The red ones can go away very quickly when you start making some mistakes. So a lot of this game is about walking around. a lot of this game is about storytelling, and a lot of this game is about fighting. So here we have some comboing with this guy. He might hit me. You know, this is the thing. Okay, now he's down, he's up, he's down. You have to parry your defenses because, like, see, he keeps moving his defenses up and down. If I don't match that, I will lose out on it. So this can get a little bit tricky, I have to admit. Now, I took some damage there, but you'll notice that I can block by holding the left button on my controller. And if I want to hit him when he's blocking, because he also has a shield, what I want to end up doing is like crouch down and then hit him like that. See, because he wasn't defending down there, he was defending up above. So when I crouch down, I can get him in the kneecaps or something. Or he can do the same thing to me if I'm not defending. So you'll notice that my stamina, which are the green bars, go down whenever he hits me when I'm blocking. But interestingly enough, see, like that, that's when I hit him. He was blocking on that area. So he's up, he's done. Yeah, we got him, we hit him once. So I'm going, there, that's one down. I'm going to explain the combos a little bit later because we can do two kinds of attacks. We can do a light attack and a heavy attack. The heavy attack breaks armor, whereas the light attack will just, it's a much quicker attack, but it will only chip away a little bit of the armor. It's very effective though against unarmored enemies. So our mission here is to go ahead and infiltrate I believe it's like a monastery. Ooh, I wasn't even paying attention. There's a guy firing at me with our arrows. That's not good. Our mission here was to infiltrate like a monastery that the enemy lord is currently hiding in. So now you'll notice this guy is a little bit different. He has a pole arm, basically, or a spear. It depends upon, probably a spear. And his attack pattern will be slightly different because of that. So like he's blocking that way. And let's see if, oh, no, that was not what I wanted. It's not what I wanted. He's attacking below now. There, we broke his armor when he was blocking. So when he's blocking with the pole arm, and we have our heavy attack, we can break that defense. If he has a shield, though, if the enemies we go up against have a shield, we won't be able to break their defense with the heavy attack. But that's what you can do with. That's what you can do with the guy with the pole arm or the spear. He most certainly can do that. One of the things we might want to do, can we go inside? No, I never even tried this. No, we can't enter buildings while we're in combat mode. So there are basically two different modes in this game. One is combat mode and one is like walking around mode. And you'll notice that some things are not accessible to you during combat mode. So let's try to approach this archer again. Hopefully I can dodge his arrows because you can press O or something to dodge arrows. There we go. Let's finish him off. You can press B. I'm used to the PlayStation controllers, to be honest. So that's where the O button is on a PlayStation controller, but it's B on an Xbox controller. So hopefully that helps explain the misunderstanding there, or the miscommunication there. Here's another character. I'm not exactly sure where he ranks in the hierarchy. He seems to be sort of a peer, which is interesting because he seems to be in command of more troops than my lowly self as a bannerman, or a former bannerman, because my banner was stolen. So we have to try to get it back. So here we are. We're moving towards the church. We can run once again by pressing B. Makes you go a little bit faster, but it's not hugely significant. Let's go inside this building. This might actually allow us to open up. Yes, I think so. Let's pull this switch, and now the shortcut is unlocked. And what the shortcut does, like every one of these levels, because the game is sort of broken up into levels based on the day. So every time you reach another level, it's basically seen as another day. And each of those days, or each of those levels, has a shortcut through it, which makes it easier once you die, because if you die, you go back to the very beginning of that day. And so like right here, we have this guy. If I die to him, we'll go back to the beginning of this day, right? But hopefully we'll be able to, yep, okay. Counter. There we go. let's not make this overly protracted, eh? We'll go back to the beginning of this day if I die, basically. So be prepared to play through it a few times. Because until... Oh, I didn't dodge that arrow. In general, I'm not even sure if this is supposed to be allowed. But what you can do is you can just sort of bait out the melee troop away from the archer. And then you can deal with them one-on-one like that. Yeah, I wasn't close enough. The guy with the polearm, the one disadvantage is that he is... he does have a very large reach, and I just lost all my armor. So we'll see if I can even. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. I'm just waiting for him to block again. There we go. Broke his armor. Now he doesn't have any armor either, but unfortunately I lost all of my armor, which could be a bad thing when going up against archers. Let's see if he will block again. Still waiting for it. No, we ran out of stamina. Well darn. Yeah, we got to get out of here. We really do. When you don't have any stamina, you won't be able to perform any sort of blocking or attacks. So you have to be careful about that. So he's attacking below now. So I have to defend. Now I have to defend above because he's attacking up there. There we go. He's down to 1 health. So as long as we don't lose too many healths here, we should. Next time he blocks, there we go. Cut him down. So now I have to walk all the way back over to the archer. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully I can dodge. I'm not so good at dodging the arrows yet. It takes a little bit of practice, I think. There's a certain technique you have to sort of be aware. Like that. Okay. That guy did not have a sword. That archer did not have a sword. So now here we are in the parish, or the... It looks like a monastery, because that does look like a monk or a friar. So, yeah. He wants me to leave the place, but of course, because I'm a vicious, cold-blooded murderer, I have no option but to draw my sword and cut him down. You'll notice this game, Bannerman, is a little bit dark. Despite being a pixel art game, it is relatively hard, and it is fairly morbid in its setting. There was nothing all too cheery about the game's world. It's a very cynical look at medieval warfare, basically. So here we are. We have to go down into the dungeons now to basically get out of here, I guess. So this is not the combat-based stuff. This is where you'll find out more about the lore, about the game's backstory. Much like that game, what was it called? The Final Station. Much like that game, a lot of the lore here is told by listening in on dialogues between characters, as well as random bits of lore drop that are scattered about the world. So you don't have to sit through too much dialogue, really. It's pretty scant, but it's very, very helpful in helping you to form a sense of what's going on around you. I think I just closed that. No, okay. Let's try this again. So this is basically a little puzzle here. That's not even sure how I'm doing, but there are a couple of gates down below that I'm trying to control from up here, and we'll see if I can actually get those done or not. Nope, that's not what I was looking for. So we have to go back up. It's like every day, so basically every level, there will be at least one challenge like this. Is it really a challenge? It's a puzzle. One puzzle like this. I forget how this one actually works, but it's you can tell when the gates close because there's a louder thud, and when they open, it's sort of a quieter thud. So even though I'm not down here, I can tell which gates I'm opening, kind of. So apparently I missed something. Let's try this. Maybe that's it. The character himself moves relatively slow, which even when running, it's probably one of the bigger complaints about the game is that the character is really goes slow. Okay. We have a regular peasant. Let's see if we can get killed by him. I should have blocked. I'm just used to cutting these guys down that I wasn't really paying much attention to it. There. They're really not that difficult to beat compared to a lot of other enemies, which is why I'm a little bit embarrassed that I let them hit me at all. And there should be another enemy over here, so you'll see this a lot. Like once you start recognizing the attack patterns of these enemies, it becomes easier. Like there, I recognized that part where he tried to block it, so I was able to counter it quite effectively. But up until that time when you actually learn their moves, you can be losing to them quite frequently. So that's part of the game, is learning how to counter different enemies effectively. So let's just continue on here. I think I've covered pretty much everything in terms of the user interface. Obviously, we can have a secondary weapon. It can be, so far I've only seen it could be a bow, which allowed you to use a ranged attack, or a sword with a shield, which allowed you to defend from a ranged attack by simply holding the block button instead of needing to dodge the arrow every time. So it's a little bit of an alternative there. But here we come out on the other side, and this should be towards the end of this day. Yeah, I think we've gotten through this level. So at the end of every day, you'll see him here by the campfire, and he basically spends the night. Sometimes we have dreams, and sometimes we don't. So this case, here we are. This is a dream sequence for the main character, and you can see he has his banner again. The main character being the Bannerman, obviously. He has his banner again. So this is what he's dreaming about. And this is where the game sort of takes a darker twist, because some of his dreams are not very pleasant, I think. So it's telling a little bit of a moral story, I suppose, about, you know, the difficulties of war, especially for people who are actively involved in committing a lot of the carnage. So right here is this man again. I'm not exactly sure what his relation is to the actual Bannerman, but he has a lot of dialogues with the Bannerman. I haven't been reading much of anything that he says, but in this case he says, "Don't worry, it's an easy thing to do. It's our purpose." So basically excusing the actions of the Bannerman, right? So there goes the friar again, I guess. He got knocked over by a flag and killed, probably. He's just walking around with this flag bumping off people at this point. You'll notice this scene here is a little bit similar to what we were doing before. I ran through this back when I was still alive, or when I was like normal, not dreaming. So it took me a little bit to actually get to this dream sequence stuff. Now here we're just running through a whole bunch of these enemies and just knocking them right over like toothpicks. At first I didn't understand what the deal with the dream sequence was, but I think by the second day I perfectly understood what exactly it was that was happening to him. So now this is still in the dream sequence, and the objective here is to get back to the campfire. And we're stuck in these dungeons, and we're obviously needing to fight other enemies. And this guy is really tricky. So I'm not sure if I really want to. I think we'll die. I think we'll die here. Let's see what happens. This guy only has 1 health, but I don't have any armor left. Oh, we didn't die. I was gonna say, because we are going on a little bit long here, so I think we're just about ready to call it quits. One thing I wanted to make note is when you're fighting down here in the catacombs, I think these things are called. It's a lot more limiting than fighting above ground, because if you get stuck in a corner, like if you get cornered here, there's no way to get past, at least at my current level, there's no way to get past an enemy that has cornered you, which means they will just beat up on you until you're dead, which makes combat down here a lot more intense, I guess you could say, compared to above ground, where you generally have a lot more room to maneuver in, basically. So I'm just going to show you what happens when you die, because I haven't done that yet. So there, he finished me off. And this is actually interesting, because I don't think I ever died in a dream sequence before. Okay, basically we just start over again at the start of that dream sequence. So that's a save point as well. So that is a lot of what Bannerman is about. Like I said before, I've only played it for about 3 hours, so I haven't got too far in it, but that's also because you'll find yourself repeating these levels a fair bit, because they are hard. not super hard, but they're challenging. And like that was an indicator there that an enemy was about to appear when you saw the ground fall. But until you memorize the layout, until you understand the enemy attacks and how to counter them, you will find yourself dying quite frequently to enemies in this game. So, if that's not for you, like for me, I can become irritated when I have to replay a lengthy level, let's say a level that lasts for 15 minutes, if I have to pick it up and I have to play it again after dying to something that I consider cheesy. That can frustrate me, but by and large, I think it's a pretty good looking game so far. So let's just quit back to the main menu. We can't have more than one game save, so if we ever wanted to start a new game, it will erase the old one. You can click it and it'll say like, warning, starting a new game will reset all the progress. So we probably don't want to do that. And I accidentally did start a new game once because this is really touchy. I mean, this would be one of those things I think could really be improved in the game, is how sensitive the selection is. When you press the joystick in my case, like even when you're pressing the D button, it moves the selection back and forth so rapidly, like even a tap can make it cycle twice or 3 times, which makes it really a little bit nerve-wracking because you don't want to start a new game by accident, and that has happened to me. That happened to me once, where I started a new game by accident when I was trying to get out of this menu because you can't press B basically to go back. Like, that would be what you would usually expect it to take you back, and I couldn't do that. So that's one thing I really think could be improved, is the sensitivity when selecting options, which is kind of interesting. That's the biggest quandary, the biggest problem that I've had, really. But I guess it speaks to the quality of the game overall, and I think it is a nice look at a nice sort of alternative look, a less romanticized look at a medieval war in a side-scrolling kind of action game, because you're parrying, you're blocking, you're dodging, all that kind of stuff, right? I'm not sure if any of that made sense. It made sense in my head, but then when I started saying it, I couldn't really figure out where I was going without actually sounding a little bit redundant. So I guess it's just too late. I shouldn't record these things when it's this early in the morning. Not late, this early. See, that's what I mean. I keep messing up. But yeah, that is Bannerman. Thank you very much for watching, as always, and I hope to see you next time.